Here we have a glute med kickback. So this movement biases the glute med, otherwise known as the glute medius division of the glute muscles. The glute med is a fan-shaped muscle on the upper and outer portion of the glutes that sits directly above the glute max, so that big juicy muscle of the glutes. Secondarily, we're also getting a good bit of glute minimus with this exercise, which is a deeper muscle located directly underneath the glute medius. And then we're also getting some assistance from the glute max. This exercise biases the glute med in its more mid-range, although where we position the pulley, how high we position the pulley will actually impact the resistance profile. When we set the cable higher like this, we're able to hit a more lengthened position as well. So we're gonna go ahead and set the pulley just below hip height in order to get as much lengthened position as possible. From here, we're gonna clip into the ankle straps. Now for your ankle strap, ankle attachment that you choose, if possible, we want to find one with an underfoot strap. This is going to make it more stable and easier to push down into, which is really helpful with this exercise. Now, if possible, I want you to hold on to a PVC pipe, a bench, or something with that opposite hand that's not holding on to the cable machine for additional stability. Otherwise, that arm over there, that hand over there is just floating, and this really helps to hold our body in the correct position. Okay, now body positioning. So start by directly facing the cable machine and then step towards your working side by about a foot. From here, we're thinking of swiping the leg back at about a 45-degree angle. So the working leg is actually going to cross and touch the non-working thigh on each and every rep. So think this form cue, think close the thigh gap, okay? So we are not going directly to the side. We're not going directly straight back. We are right between the two. And as we come forward, that leg is crossing over, closing the thigh gap, and then swiping back at that 45-degree angle. Let's go over some common mistakes and how to fix them, starting with shifting the hips. Now, you won't be able to keep your body totally static while doing this movement, but we really want to avoid this excessive movement in the hips like I'm showing here. Instead, we want to keep the hips stable, and we want the primary movement to be coming just from that leg, and so that the glute med is really the thing that's working. Another really common mistake on these is kicking too straight back rather than swiping across the body at that 45-degree angle like we talked about. This is really easy to do because essentially this is the position our body wants to fall into because it allows for us to use more glute max, which is a bigger, stronger muscle than the glute med. So if you are not closing the thigh gap on each rep, if the working leg is not crossing over and touching that non-working thigh, we can be pretty certain that we're probably not biasing as much glute med as we want. I find that the easiest way to guard against this is just to directly face the cable machine like we talked about, step over towards your working side by about a foot, hold on to that PVC pipe or something with your opposite hand, and from here you almost don't have to think about it. Your body will pretty naturally fall into that 45-degree swipe position. The last thing we want to avoid here is lifting the knee on each rep. This is unnecessary, and it also tends to make this movement more glute max biased when we add in that hip flexion. So instead, we're going to keep the leg straight and just follow that swiping across path across the body.